Welcome to the first installment of Heroes and Villains. Today's subject, the Ghost Rider, a biker from hell with a desire for vengeance. An iconic character that I bet most people have probably seen before. I myself have always enjoyed the design of the character, but found his motives, both human and writer, lacking, especially compared to Marvel powerhouses such as Spider-Man, Captain America, and Iron Man. So where did it all go to hell for the writer? To answer that, we must go back to where it all began. August 1978, Marvel Spotlight number 5 was released, revealing the Ghost Rider for the very first time. Written by Gary Frederick, it follows Johnny Blaze, a stuntman who turns into the titular Ghost Rider at night, and later in the comics whenever the writer damn well pleases. As the Ghost Rider, Johnny rides around town on his flaming bike and shoots flames from his hands, while battling the minions of Satan and saving lovely young ladies from danger. In the second issue, it is revealed that Johnny summoned the devil to his house to cure his adoptive father's cancer. The devil tricks Johnny, and his adoptive father dies anyways. The devil comes to collect Johnny's soul and is interrupted when Johnny's super hot stepsister, Roxanne, enters the room. The devil then curses him to turn into a flaming skull with a sweet motorbike, but only at night, whenever the writer damn well pleases. After that, Johnny is caught up in plot after plot against the devil, be it his adoptive father coming back from the dead in another body to kill Roxanne, his own daughter, or Native Americans sacrificing Roxanne to the snake god. Lots of people want to kill this Roxanne lady for some reason. Even the witchy woman... Just witch woman, apparently. A devil worshipper who shoots fire out of her hands, which will hurt Johnny, I guess. The Hulk shows up, a demon called Inferno, that kid from Queens, the son of Satan. He fights death. Another goon called Zodiac shows up. Wonder what his powers are. Puzzles. And then this one guy who looks just like the guy who died on the cross. And of course, a lot of Satan being big, red, and evil. These older plots are a little hard to follow at times, and I end up wondering, what's the point of it all? What does Johnny Blaze want? Since he and the writer are the same, what are their goals? It seems to be save Roxanne and any other underdressed young lady around, or run from any problem he could easily solve with his powers. This book felt dated even for the late 70s, the only bright side being that the art can lean into the visually creative at times. I don't have the end plot to this original line, but I am told that the original idea was that the final showdown between Johnny and the devil, that rad dude who helped Johnny multiple times, was in fact Jesus Christ himself. Who would have thought it? And he was going to save Johnny's soul and rid him of the Ghost Rider. Why? Because he summoned the devil. For the right reasons. To save his adoptive father's life. So a Marvel producer took one look at that and rewrote it so that this not Jesus guy was a demon, and the devil was actually another demon called Mephisto, King of Liars. The original Ghost Rider had the bike, the fire, and to some extent invincibility while in the rider form. But that was about it. No other powers or anything like that. In fact, he's barely a super anything at this point. I felt a bit hollow and burnt out reading these original comics. I went into it expecting too much. I'm trying not to be too harsh here, but I disliked them. A lot. I started to think I made up how awesome the Ghost Rider was. So I went back to my own beginning with the Ghost Rider. The first Ghost Rider film, coincidentally called The Ghost Rider funnily enough, was released in 2007. And while it is not the most offensive superhero film ever made, it's still not very good. But I like it anyways, for reasons we'll get into later. Nick Cage tries at least. The movie is overall authentic to the source material, even to its detriment. The origin is similar. Johnny Blaze is a young stuntman working with his father, Barton Blaze. Johnny is still down bad for Roxanne, who is unrelated to him this time. Barton is still dying of cancer. The devil approaches Johnny this time, instead of Johnny being some kind of weird devil worshiper. And then Johnny is coerced and tricked into signing the deal instead of him willingly signing it.
That'll do just fine.
The The devil still kills Barton and takes Johnny's soul as collateral as usual. Johnny then leaves Roxanne in the rain because reasons. Johnny grows up to be the greatest stuntman ever because he is actually invincible. He meets Roxanne again and this time asks her on a date. Why? Which he will not show up at because he is currently a flaming skull wrecking Austin. The devil uses this Ghost Rider as his own personal bounty hunter to return souls to hell. The Ghost Rider hunts down the son of Satan,
Father,
that needs the scroll of 100 MacGuffins that grant the power to conquer the earth,
hell on earth.
or something and something and something. Honestly, the plot never made much sense in the first place, so you're better off forgetting it. The CGI looks bad, even for the time. Like Iron Man comes out next year. So the Rider doesn't look amazing, but he does so many cool things. He has the chain, he has the fire punch, and dumb little fireballs. A hell gun for one scene. And the penitence stare where he cooks the eyes of evildoers. Or soul, probably. I wonder if that kills them. Another thing that bothers me about this film is that the separation of the Rider and Johnny is inconsistent. It seems in the beginning of the film that he can't control it and just becomes the Rider, a separate entity that makes jokes and talks not like Johnny.
Sorry, all out of mercy.
Then, when the Rider sees Roxanne, he goes blue. But who is he? The Rider or Johnny? Is Johnny fighting back against the Rider here? Does the Rider have a boner for Roxanne as well? Then, near the end, he switches back and forth like he has power over the Rider.
That's right.
He can even be both, at once. Half Ghost Rider, half Johnny.
No.
Which would be cool if it was ever explained. I have a problem with Roxanne in this movie as well. She is the most damsel in distress damsel I've ever seen. She might have the original Roxanne beaten by some miles.
Wait, you think I'm pretty, right?
She can't even handle her own wine. It's so bad that when she goes to apologize to Johnny,
Hi.
for some reason, I thought she was a demon in disguise trying to kill him. But no, it's just a poorly written woman. I mean, I've never met one that apologizes. It's just a poorly written movie with so much love for the source material, they bring back the true original Ghost Rider.
Carter Slade.
Every scene with Sam Elliott makes me wish for a Western Ghost Rider. He might be the highlight of the film.
Morning, bonehead.
They even play a version of Riders in the Sky, which was one of the inspirations for the Rider himself. Now, I mentioned earlier that I kinda like this movie,
Okay, that was weird.
and I think that comes from some of the I'm gonna use the essay words now subtext and themes that the movie never seems to follow up on, such as Johnny's statement
You can't live in fear.
and the fact that his entire life is being used by the devil, until the last moment when the devil wants the Ghost Rider back and Johnny refuses, sacrificing his normal life with Roxanne to battle evil as a second chance for making the deal that killed his father.
Do you believe people get second chances?
But they goofed. They floundered a decent plot with interesting themes by writing terrible dialogue.
Damn it!
And even worse scenes.
But I am learning to, I'm getting control of it.
It's strange, like a house with perfect foundations, but missing the siding. And probably a roof.
He may have my soul, but he doesn't have my spirit.
Damn it!
And a thesaurus, apparently. Well, it certainly wasn't what I remembered. Not good, not bad. Simply dull at the low points and disappointing at the highs. Maybe the sequel was better. Spirit of Vengeance was released in 2011 as a sort of soft sequel / reboot, and is mostly garbage. It seems to me mostly a writing and directing problem. David Goyer, where have I heard that name before?
Oh my god!
But some people didn't like the CGI in the film. Overall, it is a very poor film, with little to highlight except that the Rider appears in a couple of pretty epic scenes, I've gotta say. And Nick Cage overacting is
Scraping at the door!
always hilarious.
Scraping at the door!
I'll make the story quick this time. Devil wants Kid, Kid has hell powers. Mom doesn't want to give Kid to Devil. Devil hires goons to steal Kid. Ghost Rider stops the goons. They go to Super Secret Church Mountain. French Idris Elba gets rid of the Ghost Rider for Johnny. Weird monks fail to protect Kid. Devil needs Kid for ritual. Johnny and French Idris Elba try to stop Devil. Fail. The kid gives Johnny back the Ghost Rider with his hell powers. Chase scene ripped off from the Ark of the Covenant. The Devil goes back to hell, and the Ghost Rider becomes good.
I can feel him.
Whatever that means. The so-called Spirit of Vengeance looks very good in this film. The charred jacket and scorched skull are something I don't think you could feasibly accomplish with a comic book style, and add a lot to the overall design. The fire looks miles better than the first film as well as the final. But, and this is a very big but, the Ghost Rider's strange, with weird puppet marionette movements. He cracks jokes.
Roadkill.
He moves like an actual ghost. I think they tried to make the Ghost Rider feel creepier or evil, and I'm not sure where they got that idea from or why, but I suspect it's to make the fact that Johnny wants rid of the Rider more believable. Considering this is an official sequel for the first film, I find it strange that Johnny doesn't want the Rider anymore, considering how the first movie ended.
No. I'm gonna own this curse. And I'm gonna use it against you.
They also show an emphasis on how the Rider is in control, not Johnny.
You're a bad man. And this thing, the Rider, he feeds on them and he's hungry. He's hungrier than he's been years, and that's why I'm shaking.
They are two separate entities sharing the same body. At least this time I know what Johnny wants.
And we will lift your curse.
Did we win?
Say yes. Hell yes.
But the Rider seems to only want one thing. At first, the Rider tries to save the boy, but later, he's just causing chaos, to the point where the Rider accidentally kills the boy.
Look how they massacred my boy.
Then a Deus Ex Machina pulls up, and the demon Zarathos is actually an angel that can revive the dead.
Since the Rider was an angel that went crazy.
Boy, wish you prayed to an angel, Johnny, instead of making a deal with the devil. Would have worked way better. But I doubt that's what they were going for. I have a suspicion they tried to do what Spider-Man 2 did, and I'll get into it more with its own video, but for simplicity, Spider-Man 2 is an inverse hero's journey, meaning that the usual normal world is with the powers, and that the hero wishes to get rid of the powers. In Spider-Man 2, when Peter gets rid of the suit and his powers disappear, his normal life gets better and better. But when he is faced with his true test of a normal life, or the life of a superhero, he chooses to become a superhero again, thus completing his inverse hero's journey. See, the problem with Spirit of Vengeance is it's missing the entire his life gets better part. Imagine, if you will, we have the same actors and actresses from the first film. If Johnny got rid of his powers, what's the first thing he would do? Be with Roxanne? Who wouldn't? Then you face Johnny with a choice. Be with Roxanne or let an innocent kid die. Maybe he even sacrifices something, his life, his freedom, something, to save the life of an innocent kid. That's when you bring Zarathos the angel back in the mix and give the good powers back to Johnny as the blue-flamed Rider. But only after he sacrifices something. After my research into the world and life of Johnny Blaze, I couldn't help but feel disappointed. The original comics were not very good. The films were missing a lot. I felt that you could do so much with the Ghost Rider, but all the writers to this point had failed me. Then, I was recommended to read the Danny Ketch era of Ghost Rider. This second version of the Ghost Rider debuted in May of 1990. The writer envisioned it in his childhood home of Cypress Hills, Brooklyn. He stated that it would focus more on crime fighting than the supernatural, but I didn't know that when I began reading. Danny Ketch and his sister Barbara are investigating the cemetery near their home when they intrude on Deathwatch and his goons executing someone. Deathwatch shoots Barbara with a crossbow bolt, seriously injuring her, and Danny has to drag her body to a junkyard where they try to hide from the ninjas hunting them. As the ninjas close in and Barbara keeps losing more blood, Danny is drawn to a light emanating from the gas cap of a motorcycle. The Ghost Rider. The Danny Ketch Ghost Rider is better than the rest and stands as the main inspiration for the movies. It's here that his penance stare is introduced, as well as his iconic chain, which can shoot out like throwing stars, as well as the idea that the Ghost Rider and the person he inhabits are very separate beings. His villains are much more tangible than the Devil was back in the late 70s, and more deadly as well, with one of his defeated villains showing up in a later issue to kill Barbara, his sister. Danny even struggles with becoming the Ghost Rider, a choice he makes every night that he could give up at any time, but continues to do so as he grows to agree with the Rider more and more. Most of the plots revolve around avenging some innocent or stopping the bloodshed before it happens, while during the day Danny has to dance around the fact that he never sees his mother or girlfriend again, or make up excuses to them when he disappears for an entire night.
Kinda like that guy from Queens.
When Nightmare pulls both Zarathos and Danny into his world, they have a heart-to-heart. Finally understanding each other more than before, they join again to become an even stronger Ghost Rider than they were before. Doctor Strange, his porn stash, a bull, and a possessed lady show up to defeat the demon Zarathos, where Strange reveals that this Zarathos is very different to the one in the past, and decides to help him instead of destroying him. Now, I have a problem with this book, and the character as a whole. What the hell does the penance stare actually do? Does it kill them? Does it hurt them a lot? If the line is, every bad thing they ever did is pushed back onto them, and they shot and killed someone, does that mean they die as a result? This guy looks pretty dead to me, or at least non-functioning for the remainder of his life. The books are inconsistent about it, the movies never bring it up. What is it? Maybe I can get some help from the comments. One of you super fans who make all those cringe edits on YouTube are going to watch this. Please, tell me, what the hell does it do? Another thing, and it might just be with this book, but half of it is crossovers. Like one crossover I liked was with The Punisher, as they are really similar characters with similar goals in the same city. But did we really need 4 issues of a Wolverine crossover? Or one with Moon Knight? Or X-Factor? Or the fucking Morlocks? Whatever those are. Or Doctor Strange and his porn stash? To be fair, I think the crossover with Strange is cool and useful to both stories. I just get tired of the constant interruptions to the main story. But Wolverine? Doesn't he have somewhere to be? Protecting mutant children from touchy professors? After this book, the MCU makes so much more sense now, especially its downward trend. When all plot lines intersect, it turns into a flat line. Overall, I love this era of the Ghost Rider and think it's where the good intersects with the least bad, creating the perfect grounds to forge a truly heroic and interesting Ghost Rider that people could still enjoy to this day. The Ghost Rider, a hero with a rough history and rougher movies. If it weren't for the hard work of a few writers and the struggle of the artists, he would have been forgotten in the piles of trash Marvel has put out in the past 60-odd years. It's been 30 years since Daniel Ketch was released, and it seems like that's where it'll peak for the Ghost Rider. Not even the MCU could make him work. There are a few things that make him stick out like a diamond in the heaps of discarded heroes. His design is original and iconic, even 40 years on. His human side is interesting, depending on the author, and his sacrifices in avenging the spilt blood of the innocent are what makes him truly a hero. And more importantly, the spirit of vengeance.